Good day, everybody. Welcome back to another What's This Then. Today we're going to be talking about Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. Now a little bit, just before I get into it, it's been a little bit since my last upload. Life has been a little bit all over the place at the minute. At the end of this video, I'm going to have just a little bit more of an explanation about how things might be going forward in the channel in terms of maybe not uploading as much as I would otherwise like to, just while I sort that stuff out. But yeah, if you're interested in that, stick around to the end of the video, and let's just get on with this here for now then. So, Stalker 2. Open world FPS survival, developed by GSC Game World, developer of the previous Stalker games. Now this one's only coming to Xbox and Windows. Currently no PS5 release, or any plan for a PS5 release, I believe, from what I could see. Doesn't mean it necessarily will never come to PS5, but maybe a timed exclusivity thing. But as of right now, Xbox and PC are your only ways to play this game. This one came out on the 20th there, so just yesterday, and you can pick it up for about £50 or $60. Now there are a couple of bonus editions, I believe the Deluxe and the Ultimate Edition. They're mostly filled with your usual fare of what I can believe are skins for existing weapons and such. However, they both do include an additional side mission that you do not get in the base game, which is a bit unfortunate. Not a big fan of that. Now, with this game, I do believe it is very important that we factor in the context of the development, since with everything going on in Ukraine. From what I understand, several of the staff from GSC Game World actually went off to fight in the conflict, and I do believe they actually lost. I think maybe one person, I'm not sure, maybe a couple more. I remember one at least, it could be more. And that some of their staff are actually working in places that are currently still being threatened, essentially. So to say this game had a bit of a troubled development would be a slight understatement. So when we go through this game, it's a sort of context that I think is important, because it's very possible that they needed to get this game out here now, just for money reasons, because in terms of optimization and bug fixing, it's definitely not there yet. But if you're a fan of previous Stalker games, then you were probably kind of expecting that anyway. But if you're someone who's not, then just understand that I believe it a bit fair to be a bit more lenient in that regard. So just a little bit about the premise of the game, just from the Steam page here. Discover the vast Chornobyl exclusion zone, full of dangerous enemies, deadly anomalies, and powerful artifacts. Unveil your own epic story as you make your way to the heart of Chernobyl. Make your choices wisely, as they will determine your fate in the end. Sounds like a Stalker game to me. So, let's start off with the usual. Let's head into the settings menu here. So game, you've got autosave, tutorial, object highlighting, difficulty, text language, voiceover language. You can change this to, Ukrainian, which is much better. The voice acting is way better. Like this. The English voice acting feels very much anime dub level for most anime dubs, you know. Honestly, you're not really here for the voice acting anyway, but I just feel like the sort of native audio experience there does provide a bit of a better time. You've also got streamer mode, which is nice for copyrighted soundtracks and stuff. It also says hide your nickname, which this game does plan to have a multiplayer at some point. I don't know if they've discussed exactly what that multiplayer is going to be. I know it's not going to be like any kind of co-op. As much as I would love that sort of thing, I think it will be some kind of PvP, so I believe that's just there for that. Difficulty-wise, I've been playing it on Veteran. I believe this is a perfect way to experience the game. It is absolutely brutal. I love it. That's exactly what I'm here for with this game, so absolutely. Object highlighting, this is something I've disabled. There's a few things that I'm just turning off to make them a bit more like the other Stalker games. Object highlighting is one of them. What this does is, like, say ladders that are climbable will just have a vague bit of like yellow paint and stuff on them, so you can turn that off. But honestly, like with this sort of game, I'm checking everything all the time, every time, so I just turn that off. I personally don't really like it in this game. Some games I don't care so much about the whole highlight an object in yellow, because it's not really the purpose of the game. you know, to find that, you know. If exploration is a huge part of your game, then I can totally understand turning that off, which I have done so here. Scout changes, sure. UI here, we've got some nice stuff. So subtitles, your usual bit of business, background opacity, speaker names, you know who's talking, and some of the names in this game are very funny, so that's quite fun to have on. Targeting reticle type. I've actually just turned this off. Where's it? Hit indicator and targeting reticle. I just turn it off. Just immersion. This game is all about immersion. Absolutely love it. HUD settings, so you can mess about with stuff here, so you can like turn it off and on. The compass at the top of the screen is probably the only one that I'm conflicted about, because it does just sort of tell you where to go at all times. But at the same time, you'd be in and out of your PDA all the time, and there's an animation that plays, kind of like going into your Pip-Boy on a Fallout or whatever, but a little bit slower. And yeah, so you can kind of have that on and off. But yeah, you have a lot of options here, and you can even do HUD opacity. So I probably could mess around with that, maybe turn down the opacity a bit, so I'm not really noticing it unless I'm focusing on it. That could be worth doing, but plenty of options there, good stuff. Now graphic settings. I've turned pretty much everything either off or down to high. Playing this game at Epic on a 4090 and 7800X 3D, it's fine out in the world, but when you get into more built up areas, or especially towns, you will be feeling it quite a lot. But turning the game down to high has helped a lot with that. But this is what I mean when I say the game is not optimized fully yet. This will be the sort of thing going forward that they will work on, no doubt. But it is a big part of whether this game is going to be worth your money. One thing I would definitely say for this game is to make use of the Steam refund policy. Buy the game, turn it on, play it for about 2 hours, see if your system can handle it, because right now it's just very possible that the experience for you might not be that good. But just a quick note on that, the underlying game here is really good, but we'll get more into that later. But yeah, so plenty of graphics options. You've got your usual selections: post-processing, anti-aliasing, motion blur, all that sort of business. With anti-aliasing, I don't really know what anti-aliasing it's using. It just says high, medium, and low and stuff, so I would like to know that a bit better. Upscaling, you got your stuff here. This is you need upscaling for this game currently. With the state it's in. Frame gen as well, I would argue, is also pretty necessary. And then you've got your other stuff like fog, clouds, foliage quality, view distance. Pretty much everything you could really ask for. It's good stuff in there. Display, again, you got pretty good stuff. You got field of view slider, always good. Screen mode, you got full screen, borderless, exclusive. When I put my game into exclusive full screen, it runs like ass in the menus for some reason. I don't know why, but full screen borderless seems to run really well. So I personally recommend it, especially if you're on Windows 11. Windows 11 kind of improved how Windows detects windowed things, which sounds a weird sentence. Windows detects Windows. But I remember on Windows 10, it was like if you're playing any game that it was mostly competitive games. Honestly, for single player games, it didn't really matter too much. But playing in windowed borderless introduced input lag on Windows 10. However, if you're playing on Windows 11, this apparently isn't the case, as I've seen from a few different sort of resources. So full screen borderless, have no doubt of putting on that one. You've got frame rate limits. It's not super precise on what it lets you pick. It's just a few sort of base sort of preset numbers. Wish that would be better. That would be nice, but not the end of the world. Once played a game, couldn't even tell you which one it is that lets you select individual numbers for frame rate limits and stuff, and that's just perfect. That's just how we should all be doing it. Image correction, you can mess about with some stuff here. You might be messing about with the brightness and the gamma and stuff like that, because this game is dark. Like, really dark. When nighttime hits and the moon is not out, you're not going to see shit. You got your HDR and stuff here, so that's always good. And if we head into sound, you can kind of mess about with pretty much all the volumes that you would need to be messing about with. One thing I quite like, it's got the dynamic range. You can set it to be narrow or medium, full, that sort of stuff, depending on your audio situation, all that sort of business. Controls, pretty typical stuff in here. Mouse sensitivity, aim sensitivity. You can set things to be toggle or hold. So far I haven't really found any need to change any of these. Maybe lean, put that on. Well, lean by default is Z and C, because Q and E are kind of like your quick use stuff. So you may want to change that around. It does have a dynamic lean as well, so I haven't really found myself actually using the lean keys that much. And you can also do some key rebinding as well, so that's all in there. Good stuff. And accessibility, they've got color correction. Obviously it would be nice to see a bit more in there, but like I said, given the development of the game, it's understandable why some things might be missing. So let's actually load into the game proper here. Now you notice all the loading screens gives you tips, and honestly these are worth, there's not a lot of games where I see the tips in the loading screen and I think, yeah, that's, you know, these are worth reading. But Stalker is the sort of game that you will be getting very little hand-holding, if any, at all. And the game will just chuck you into it. So sometimes the tips in the loading screen can actually be really good. Right, so welcome to the world of Stalker 2. It's very pretty. I'm just going to turn it up a little bit so you can maybe hear a little bit more. Yeah, it's very pretty. Running on the Unreal 5 engine, I believe. So you are going to be noticing a little bit of stutters here and there, although it's nowhere near as bad as, say, Silent Hill 2 was. And honestly, I don't really notice them at all. And I feel like I'm quite sensitive to that sort of thing, but I can also get over it fairly easily, but yeah, I haven't really had too much issue. So this is sort of like the first hub town that you get to. So this is where you'll sort of be introduced to the different types of vendors and stuff like that. I suppose if I show you the inventory screen here. So you'll go through a bit of a prologue and then you'll sort of end up here. But yeah, if you've played the Stalker games, then this inventory looks very familiar to you. You can have 2 primary weapons, secondary weapon, you can have your detector for finding anomalies, very important. And here you have your like quick, this is like where you would attach artifacts, and they have different bonuses that they can give you. And at the bottom you've got your quick access. These are on the left over here, you can see where it says Q and D. So the way this works is the 2 on the left are on the same button, the 2 on the right are on the same button, so you tap Q to use the left one, you hold Q to use the right one. So I would tap Q here, use the medkit, hold Q to use the bandage. Same goes for E. It's quite a nice little system. I don't mind it at all, although it being on Q and E does use up 2 very useful keys that I would usually rebind, but not the end of the world. If we look at the actual weapons and stuff in the armor, you can see we've got a durability system in here. Now, I haven't noticed the durability affecting much, other than when you go to fire a weapon, if your durability is low enough, it can jam, in which case you will have to do an unjamming animation. And if this happens at a very bad time, which has happened to me several times now, this can be very bad for you, even get you killed, which it has done to me. But it's all part of the Stalker experience. If that sort of thing would annoy you, if you're the sort of person that gets annoyed at dying in video games, this may not be the game for you. But dying in games is funny. It's just part of the Stalker experience. This game does not care about you. This game will just kill you. And then you will adapt, you will get better, and that feeling of progression when you understand, because it's not just, because there are no stats, you know, there's no level up and suddenly I have more health and I'm stronger now. It's your knowledge, your experience with the game, that's what goes up, and you become better at these situations, which is one of the big appeals about Stalker. But yeah, so durability on weapons can jam your gun, it can mess up the reloads, it can also mean that people will not buy them from you. If you pick up a gun that's in like shitty condition, they're just gonna be like, I don't want that. Understandable. You do have a weight limit down here. Normally, I'm kind of on the boat these days for weight limits in open world games and stuff, or like RPGs and stuff being gone away with. I don't really see them being a huge part of it, but I feel like in Stalker's case, this is a huge part of what can set the immersion just right. You know, if you were able to go in and lift everything, then the survival aspect of the game wouldn't mean quite as much, and that's a big part of the game, so I can see people taking it either way, but personally I think the weight system's fine. When you have weapons in your inventory, you can actually unload the shots out of them and stuff, so you can pick up a weapon, take the bullets out and drop the weapon and stuff, so you're not losing bullets or anything like that. It's always good. Everything does have weight in this game, like even the bullets. I know that for some people is gonna... that might freak them out a little bit, but they don't weigh too much, depending on the bullet, of course. but it is something you have to think about. Now, so far, I haven't found anywhere to store things, so I'm just kind of hoarding all my ammunition. But yeah, everything has weight, everything is usable, everything is useful. Even like notes, even this little paper note to someone has weight. So you will be over encumbered at times. I can't actually remember what it does. I think if you were to hit the max in the red, you just stop moving. It's definitely movement speed is affected. I think your stamina might go down faster as well. That sort of stuff. Yeah, that's sort of the inventory screen there. Whenever you've put stuff on there, you can hold tab and you can bring up a radial menu and sort of flick around the place, or you can just hit the number keys and do it all from there. There's some pretty nice shortcuts and stuff for everything. I'm actually going to put my weapon away because people don't like it when you have your weapon out here. You can press H at any time and just sort of put that away. So if I open up the PDA, that'll be our next thing here. So this is the map. This is the sort of world that we're dealing with. I don't know if any more of this will open up or not, but this is the sort of scale. Right now I am inside the lesser zone. Probably not too crazy with anomalies and such, I'd imagine here. But I've been here for about 5 hours or so. Well, the beginning of the game there's a prologue, that's probably about an hour, depending on how fast you do it. But then I've sort of been here for the rest of it. You've got location markers. They just sort of let you know all the little points of interest and all that sort of business, and you've got question marks, which I believe are places that you have seen but not been to, which is quite nice, because I don't have anything over here, but I'm pretty sure I came close to this. And then you can tag any of this, put down a custom marker, delete your custom markers, get rid of them and all that. If you pick up a PDA from another stalker, or from anyone really, they might have location on where a stash might be, and then that'll be pinged on your map, and you can head there. Maybe get some stash. However, you have to be careful, because not all stashes are in a safe place. They're just somewhere that someone was able to leave them. So it's always dangerous, potentially dangerous, and it might not be one person who has that stash, it might be several. You just don't know. This is the Stalker game. Then you've got like sort of POIs, or like bigger POIs, so like Zilicia here, you know, it sort of tells you a little bit about it, what services it provides, that kind of stuff. And if you zoom in more, you can see all like sort of where exactly it is. Bed. Oh, private box. Well, there we go. There's my storage that I was looking for, so I'll probably go and chuck some stuff in there at some point. We've got a medic. I haven't actually visited them yet. I've been to the trader, and I've also been to the technician. So far I haven't found any way to repair my own weapons and gear. I've had to go to the technician, however it's very expensive. So you'll probably be scrounging for the first little while. If we head over into the journal, this is just, yeah, your sort of quest journal. You will get lots of side missions. You can sort of track them here. Typical stuff, really. Go into notes. This is anytime you pick up a PDA that has some information, or you just pick up a letter, or you pick up a recording. This is where you go to find it. You can filter it by quest-related ones. You can filter it by physical notes, audio recordings, that sort of stuff. Upgrades. You can upgrade your weapons. So if I do this, and then you can see here that this is showing... Right now I'm not at someone who could upgrade a weapon for me, but this is showing the upgrade that could be possible. I would need to go to a technician, but this is sort of showing me that, like, hey, look, your weapon could be upgraded with this. Check it out. Gas masks, the whole 9 yards. You can really customize your shit in this game. If you find a weapon you really like, you can hold on to that fucker and make it good. And yeah, like the same with armors and stuff like that as well. You can also do attachments. I don't believe you can do that from this screen, but I found a suppressor which I can put onto a pistol. Which actually has a pretty elegant little system. I'll just show you it right here. I can't remember what game. I think it was Battlefield 2042 I first seen this sort of system in. But if you pull up a weapon and hold T, you get this little attachment wheel, and it brings up your mouse, and you can just click on it and then swap out the attachments there and then, which is pretty handy. Also, one thing to notice when you're in your inventory, forgot to mention this, time does not stop. Time is still very much going. So going into your inventory is a dangerous affair, especially if you do it in combat. Oh yes, I've just been reminded, so on the bottom left you can see my health and stamina bar, and also a radiation bar, but above that you can see a little food icon. So this being a survival game and all, there is some food element to it. Now, I don't believe not eating will kill you. I believe it will just impair you in combat. Now, so far I haven't let it get bad enough that I actually know what they are, because it doesn't tell you what they are, it just sort of is going to let you figure that out. but you can open up the backpack and eat a bit of food. And every bit of food I've eaten so far has a unique eating animation. So like the bread, the sausage. In fact, I'll just show you it as well. So I'll probably just reload the save and get this stuff back. But yeah, every bit of food so far has an eating animation, which is pretty neat. Kind of like that. Where were we? In the PDA. That's right. We were just about... Yeah, you can go to the tutorial. So you're not totally without help. You can go in here and it'll tell you about some stuff. But it's on you to seek out this information. Not very much will be popped up on the screen, and you'll be told about it. But yeah, sort of. There's no real big incentive on like an overarching story and stuff like that. You know, the Stalker games have kind of been like that. You'll be given a direction. Like currently, my quest is to find out about a guy that messed me up. And then we'll go from there sort of thing, but there's no big, you know, incentive to really, like, hey, you need to do this now, you know? Like, just, you're in the zone, you're a stalker now. Fucking make money, upgrade your shit, get paid, do it again. Don't die. So right now I think what we'll do is we'll actually head toward the main quest. And it's over here. I have to find a guy who can then help me find another guy. But the game is very pretty, isn't it? You will probably be seeing some pop-in. I can already see it in the trees in the background there. Yeah, that's some pretty aggressive pop-in, so you will be seeing that. Like, that's just sort of something that's happening. Now, one interesting thing is this game has built-in ray tracing, but it's I believe it's called the Lumen ray tracing. So it's not your actual graphics card that's doing it. I forget exactly how Lumen works, but essentially it's not a toggleable feature. It's sort of built into the game itself. Now, this could be one of those things that's sort of impacting the performance so heavily, but it really does look really quite nice, doesn't it? Getting a bit of radiation. So metal objects tend to hang on to radiation quite a bit longer than organic objects, as you might expect. So going near things like this tend to be a little bit spooky. That does actually bring me on to one thing that I do find a little bit annoying. I won't show it to you just for the purposes of this video because I don't want it being there. Actually, you know what? I can just drink. Get rid of it. But if I go near this, you will see I now have a radiation effect on my screen. The little white dots sort of spotted around the edges of the screen like a little vignette. That will be there if you even have one tick of radiation poisoning. Which is quite annoying because it's very visually distinct. So I'm just going to pop some... I could pop some anti-radiation drugs, or we can just get chugging and deal with our radiation that way. Our screen's sort of waving about a little bit, but hey, look, no radiation. That's how that works. Yeah, so now we're taking a nice drunken stroll through the Stalker countryside, and here we have a little anomaly. Now, anomalies, if you've never played the Stalker games, are just these strange, like, breaks physics, little sort of locations. And some of them are not so dangerous, some of them are extremely dangerous. In fact, I found one that I was actually scared to go near, because I didn't know if I'd be able to leave again, essentially. But in Stalker fashion, you've got your handy bolt, you can chuck it at the anomaly, and sort of activate it. So the way this one works is pretty violent. But I'll leave that if you decide to pick up the game, because that's one of the fun parts of it. If you've never played Stalker before, if you've played Stalker before, you know exactly what's going to happen if you go in there. If you haven't, then that's part of the fun. Because I don't really want to tell you too much about the actual exploration element of the game too much, because that is what this is. That is the big appeal. If you love walking through gorgeous Stalker countryside with not a whole lot going on a lot of the time, but just on edge enough, because you don't know, anything could happen at any time, and the game is brutal, then this is the sort of game for you. 'Cause I really do enjoy it, really, really do. It sort of scratches, I imagine, because I've never really played DayZ. I was a console guy at the time, so I never really got around to it, but there's sort of like a big anomaly sitting over there, as you can see. It does look absolutely gorgeous. But that's the one I was kind of worried to go near, because as soon as you go close enough, you kind of can't really start walking away from it. But I'm hoping we can maybe get into a bit of combat here. Weapons do have multiple ammo types that they can use as well. You hit N, you can sort of swap them out. Some are better for armor, some are better for flesh, essentially. Mutants, you know. Because you got mutants in this game, of course you got mutants. In fact, one of the first enemies in the game for me was one of the fucking big mutants that just destroyed me. Couldn't believe it. But yeah, it was right at the gate. Stalker very much showing its chops. One thing I do want to mention as well, that the side questing so far in this game has actually been a lot more interesting than I thought. A lot of the time in the older Stalkers it would just be, hey look, here's a thing over there, go get it for me, you know, maybe kill a few enemies, get the thing, bring it back. So far, the side quests I've done in this game have been quite a bit more involved, such as I needed to find a guy's crew, so I tracked them down to where they went missing, and it was in this little underground bunker. I had to piece together exactly what went wrong. Turns out one of the surviving guys got saved by someone else, so I had to go there to find where this guy was taken to. And then I spoke to the guy who helped him, and turns out he's a little bit of an interesting character, part of an interesting faction. And then some other people turned up to find him, and, you know, we had ourselves a little discussion, and maybe that discussion ended in a firefight, maybe it didn't, who knows. But yeah, all that was just like, hey look, these guys have gone missing, go find them. It's pretty interesting stuff, but this is kind of what you'll be seeing a lot of. You'll be in places like this, and it's time to get scavenging, really. But who knows what could be in these houses? Who knows what could be here? A mutant could be hiding out in here, so we could have some bandits, could be anything. Here you can see just how like dark the game can be. You will be needing your flashlight. It's L by default, but it's also middle mouse button. I really like that. They've put some pretty nice shortcut keys in here by default, which I'm a big fan of. But yeah, you'll be coming into places like this. You'll be having a look around. You'll be seeing if you can find anything. You'll be getting a little bit irradiated. And in return, you'll be getting a little bit drunk. Because you gotta deal with that radiation. But if this, like this is what you'll be doing a good period of time. And you will either like this or you will not like this. This is this is a very divisive game. Divisive? Divisive? Sometimes you can find little bits like this, so you can sort of chop through. Find out what's in here. You always got to be keeping your eyes open, because people like to stash things, you know, they're not going to put it in super obvious places. Maybe they'll hide it in the rafters, who knows. Yeah, a lot of the time you'll go into a building and there'll just be nothing there, you know, because, I mean, other people are doing what you're doing out here, so the odds are you being the first one to find something, you know, unless it's really well hidden. There we go, here's a little bag, and it's got a few bits and pieces in it, so we'll take that.
Something's not right.
And we've got maybe the people that that stash belonged to. So now we're going to get into a firefight. So playing on the hardest difficulty, you will take damage. Shit hurts. I think this is this guy hiding behind here, but I'll get the scope out. There we go. Headshots, big deal. Like if people are wearing body armor and you're shooting them with 9mm, like they're gonna take a few bullets. There we go. So firefights, quick and nasty. Now one thing that was very good was that one of them did not have a grenade. Enemies are quite quick to use grenades, and if I was in here and one of them chucked them, that could have been a bad time. But yeah, you can pick up bodies, move them around, because, I mean, you can stealth in this game. You see weapons on the ground, I don't necessarily want to pick it up, but I can unload it quick and easy. I've now got the bullets. Take all your stuff. Pleasure doing business, fellas. Lovely. So I have no idea where they even were, just probably patrolled in here from like out there maybe? That's the sort of thing, you're always keeping on your toes, because you never know when something like that's going to happen. If my guns were in bad condition, or if I was low on supplies, or anything like that, you know, I might have just had to make a break for it. Oh, we're getting a little bit hungry there, so we'll just whip out the backpack here, we'll have some canned food, hell yeah. Unique animation for opening this as well. Yeah, I feel like at this point, honestly, you're either liking what you're seeing or you're not. You know, I feel like you already know if you're the sort of person this game is for. Either well, oh, what's this little underground thing? This is why it pays to explore. See, I've never been here, so this is all new to me as well. What do we have down here? In fact, you know what? We're in close range, so before anything gets nasty, we don't need a scoped weapon down here. We need a shotgun. That is what we need. One thing you want to be doing is hitting F5 to quick save a lot. The game does have autosaves, but if you're just out in the wilderness exploring, it may not be too frequent. I've already had it where I had to redo like a decent chunk of a quest because I forgot to quick save. And a dead guy down here. I will take your bullets, thank you. This game can be... To say this game is atmospheric is an understatement. I have a feeling there's going to be something not so nice down here. Seems like some kind of cave maybe something would exist in. It's like the tension in this game is incredible. The immersion, the tension, it's just all, like no other game really does it like Stalker. It really doesn't. Just finding a cave like this in the middle of nowhere and suddenly I'm just like, am I gonna get out of here? And what have we got here? This is looking particularly nasty. My beeper has gone off to let me know that we have now found some kind of anomaly. And your next part of the game is learning how to traverse anomalies. I think this is just sort of corrosion on the ground. Yeah, not good to stand in. Not good to breathe in. This is where your bolts come in handy big time. Because you can kind of activate them. Caught a little bit of it on the way out, but not too bad, not too bad. Let's check over here real quick, make sure there wasn't any crazy loot. But yeah, that is the Stalker experience in a nutshell right there. Like what just happened. I could not have planned that better. And then where the hell does this come out? Oh yeah, just where I was looking around, just a little tunnel. It was right there the whole time. So you know what? I think that to save... Oh, there's some mutants actually. You know what? We'll kill some mutants. And then before I talk to whoever it is I'm looking for, we'll call it a bit there. But just to show you what some mutant combat looks like. I have fought these before. They're quite tanky, but at the time I really only had a pistol. So maybe some 7.62 will do the job. Alright, near enough a full mag, but my gun did jam, so there's that jamming I was talking about. Gotta take better care of my weapons. But that shit is pricey, so we gotta be working. Gotta work to get the money to get the stuff to get more money. Let's actually use the MP5. Quite a bit of recoil on the guns as well. Let's actually just back up a little bit, back it up, back it up. This thing can get quite fast when it wants to. There we go, in the exact same spot as your friend. Yeah, so those are relatively straightforward mutants, quite obvious to see. Not all mutants will be clear whenever you're in danger to them. I'll just leave it at that. There's quite a bit to experience. Oh, and we've actually had some more bandits potentially here. Alright, I'm not sure what's happened. I think is this two groups? This will happen quite a bit as well. Where two groups sort of find each other and you can choose to intervene. Like maybe everyone kills each other and you get all the loot. Like who knows? It seems like this was a friendly group that appeared into an enemy group, so that was actually quite handy. But yeah, I think I'll call it there. I think I've sufficiently shown you a nice little slice of the Stalker experience. Like I said, you are either going to love this or you're going to hate this, and I think I've sufficiently shown the elements. But yeah, it's like I said, definitely make use of the Steam refund policy here, or any other policies you can make use of. It is on Game Pass, I believe. Actually, I didn't actually know it was on Game Pass, but I seen that the other day. So if you have Game Pass, you know, may as well give it a go, because there is a real gem of a game here, real gem. But it's just very rough around the edges right now, and understandably, understandably so. So, but yeah, otherwise, I would say personally for me, I'm gonna have a good time with this. I can sort of slog through the performance and stuff. I don't mind, I've done that before. I played Cyberpunk on release and had a decent time, so that should tell you what you need to know. But yeah, Stalker 2. It's good. I like it. It's a little bit buggy, and the performance is not good. Other than that, I think that's about everything. I shall catch you on the next one. See you then. Right, like I said at the start of the video, just a quick little bit at the end here, just to sort of explain. Videos haven't been going up that much recently, and they might be a bit spotty over the next little while. Essentially what it is I'm going to be moving house. My landlord has unfortunately given me my notice to quit for my current place. So yeah, life is going to be hectic for me, especially this being over Christmas and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully you guys understand. I'll try and do them when I can, when I get time. But it might be maybe a month or two before videos sort of start happening regularly again. I don't know. I'm not going to put a pin on it like that, but hopefully you guys understand. And yeah, thanks for watching as always.